What's up? All right, music is on. This is going the dance music, baby. What's up, everybody? Okay, hold on. Okay, everything's good. What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. How's everyone doing today, man? Today we are just hanging out, having some fun. Today should be a good one. We're just gonna hang out, talk some cloud gaming, talk some Stadia. I apologize for not getting the stream up a little bit earlier, but either way, let's hang out. Let's talk with you guys. Any questions you guys have, I'll let them go in the chat, and let's have some fun today and some dancing, baby. Let's go. Guys, man, I am so hyped. I am hyped because this year is kicking off and we're about to have a lot of fun, especially with gaming, but in general, we are just gonna have fun, guys. So my goodness, you guys have no idea. I'm excited. This is gonna be a good one, especially with this music pumping in the background. What's up, guys? How's it going? All right, let me say what's up to some of you guys in the chat. We got Mauer in the chat. How's it going, Mauer? Rockmirth, how you doing, Rockmirth? Josh, how's it going? Justin Gamer, how you doing, my man? Sonic, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great myself. Today's has been a crazy weekend for me, and I've been working really hard, if you guys haven't been able to tell. What's up, Jeff? How's it going? Still says, what's up, Sonny? I hope you're doing well. I am doing awesome. I actually am doing a really awesome. Life, honestly, as crazy as many ups and downs as I've had within the last like 4 months, from like the cancer scare to having a new puppy to all the changes in my life. I'm doing well. Life is just going well, and I feel blessed. Sometimes I need to sit back, and I feel like I do that on these streams with you guys. I just like take a second, take a breath, and realize how amazing everything is with you guys, you know, being a huge part of that. And that's what I love doing these streams. I haven't been missing them. So I really appreciate you guys taking your time to hang out with me, and I'm doing well. So I really appreciate you asking. Devoy, how's it going, my man? Travis goes, I'm hyped for February. Nice. I am too. I think we're gonna get some good stuff. Just in general, like it's gonna be a fun February. Period. Daniel, how's it going? Okay, says, hey everyone, it's Sunny. Okay, I hope you're doing well. I'm just gonna call you K. K, I hope you're doing well, my man. Mark, how's it going? James, Landon. I wanted to just say I'm a big fan of your voice. Keep up the work. Thank you, Edis. I really appreciate that. Hopefully I don't lose my voice today, because I have been losing it today out of nowhere. I have been this past 2 days. I'm going to change up the music. I have been helping train my grandma's dog. And so I've been using my voice a lot with a lot of commands, and she's a shelter dog. So it's been a really fun experience. And so I think I've lost my voice a little bit, so hopefully I can keep it together today. Randy goes dancing Sunday with the guns. Good to see you, my friend. You're the man, bro. Thank you, Randy. Randy, I hope you're having a blessed year so far, and you're doing well, Randy. I'm a big fan of yours as always. Primo, how's it going? It's going good, my man. Primo, thank you. Barclay, hi Sonny, and all the others in the community. Barclay, you know, I did say I was gonna have a racing stream, and I have not met my promise, and a Just Dance stream. And I have 2 promises to keep, and those got to happen within at least this first half of the year. I don't want to push it that far out, hopefully in the next couple weeks. So Randy coming in with the Sunny Silver. Man, thank you, Randy, so much. YouTube needs to fix it, because I know, Randy, you've been a member before. They need to tell me how many months you've been a member on the channel. Thank you, Randy, so much. Really appreciate that. Today we're going to do a Sunny Talk, as I've been doing every week, and I think this week's video will be exclusive to the members. Last week I got the Sunny Talk out to the public. I have another exclusive members video that I did like 2 weeks ago, and so if you're a member on the channel, you're now getting a lot more exclusive content. That's one of the things I'm working on this year. making sure you guys get some exclusive stuff on top of all the other cool things like colors on the Discord, special badge, special chat in the Discord, special badges here on YouTube. So really appreciate all the extra support you guys give. Nick says, I'm hoping for MotoGP 21 running at 60. I'm with you on that. MotoGP is a game where these racing games got to be at 60. 20 ran at 30, which is tough for a racing game. Nick, I played 20 and I didn't even notice that. So holy crap, hopefully you're right on that one. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. I have a little bit of a rant, and I don't know if I'll go into that rant exactly. I maybe after my little Sunny talk, but I'm going to mention that. And so I want to address that a little bit because we've been talking a lot about that the last couple weeks, about how 30 FPS, 60 FPS, what's going on there. And I want to talk about that in regards to Stadia. Chariot Man Gaming, how's it going, brother? Of course, guys, check out my man Chariot's channel. Awesome creator. I know you, Chariot, you were one of the first people to talk about how Phil Spencer had mentioned how Google and Amazon were big competitors, and that he was essentially, in my mind, he was kind of projecting how he's like worried about what they can do to the gaming industry, whatever that actually meant. So Chariot was on top of that. So make sure you guys check out his channel. Travis, not only great things coming to Stadia in February. My birthday's in February. Okay, cool. So not only, about Stadia, but Travis's birthday. Travis, make sure you guys, if it's your birthday and you're a regular on a channel, I always sing happy birthday to you guys on stream. So Mauer says, do you play with viewers? Yes, when I do streams, gaming streams, I'm hoping to do the 40-man grid stream here at some point, because I did promise that, and it's going to happen. But the reason I've lagged a little on that one is because I want to set that up proper so I can make some announcements and try to get some help within the community, so we can really make this a big thing, because this is a rare thing to do when we can get all 40 people on the track. And one of the rare and only unique things to Stadia, and I like doing and highlighting that. So I need to just be a little bit more planned out and prepared, which has been happening. I finally have gotten on a schedule the last couple weeks. Daniel says, will Amazon Luna ever come to Germany? I think it will, but right now, more than likely, the expansion has to come closer to maybe like the surrounding areas of North America, like Canada, and then make its way to like the UK and some of these other ones. So I do expect it to go, maybe even within that realm of when it heads over to Europe, Germany being part of that. So we'll see. Josh comes in with the $2, says, we demand live streams, one head clapping voice. You know what, Josh? Let me see if somebody can do me a big favor and write this down in the Discord for me and just like post it in like the Sunny chat channel. It's called like Sunny Best Moments or something. I will reach out to the developers, and if they give me a key to this game, I will do it on one of these Sunday streams. I will play it for like 10 minutes and I will sing. So let's reach out to those developers and see if they can get me a Stadia key, and maybe some extra Stadia keys to give out to you guys, even though it's going to be on Stadia Pro. But just to maybe hype it up. Maybe we can do that next week. We'll see if we can reach out, and I will sing. So appreciate that $2, Josh. Terry goes, Phil Spencer sure is worried about Google and Amazon. Of course he is. The reach they can have. I mean, the power they have, the money they have. I would be scared as well. It makes sense why you wouldn't be worried about PlayStation or Nintendo, because they kind of, if you think about it, they stay in their lane, right? They don't do anything innovative or crazy, especially Nintendo. If I'm Phil Spencer, I'm laughing at Nintendo. I'm just kind of like, okay, keep making your Marios and all that, and and Nintendo's wildly popular. I'm not saying it's not, it's insanely popular, but they're not breaking the mold, really. I mean, the Switch is a good device, but it's not a powerful device. So I mean, I wouldn't worry too much either. So it makes a lot of sense. Jeff goes, my wife and I went to Orange Theory today for circuit training. My butt is kicked. Nice, Jeff. You need to let me know a little bit more about that. I haven't heard about that one. Squid, I am doing really well. I hope you're doing well. $70 billion Smackers is ridiculous. Yeah. Ruben, my good friend Ruben, how are you doing? What's up, my friend? I'm doing good, Ruben. I hope you're doing well, my man. I'm especially doing better now that you're in the chat. I'm excited for when Luna comes to Canada. Yeah, I do have a Discord. I have a link. I don't think I have any mods today because I didn't schedule the stream today. Ilka says, I found your channel like a week ago and love it. Keep rocking. Thank you for that, K. I really appreciate it. I can't says the 40 player grid races used to be a big thing. Yeah, man. I ended up stopping the 40 grid races because, well, we started to not get 40 players as much. And so then I transitioned to what this is now, these Let's Chats, and I've been enjoying these a ton. Talking to you guys is literally one of my highlights of the week. Phil Spencer knows Stadia has the technology and the money to make cloud gaming better than everyone else. Oh yeah. Not just that, but the reach. I mean, think about Google. Just think about even the Play app, YouTube in itself. I mean, there's tools in in the search engine. I mean, the #1 search engine in the world. Google has tools in their tool belt that no one else has. Amazon does too, credit to them. But not quite like Google, but Amazon has its own mammoth of tools as well. But when you think about that stuff, it's hard to understand why you wouldn't enter. Let me do a really quick Google search. How much did the gaming market, how much did gaming make in 2021? Let's see how much. Let me see if we can get a number. All right, so the games market will generate a total revenues of $180.3 billion. So why wouldn't you enter in that? Obviously. So like, that's why for me it's kind of laughable when people say, oh, you know, you'll see Stadia, you know, leave. I don't think Stadia will ever leave in its current hardware form. Like, if Stadia were ever to do anything, the only thing I could really see happening that would be drastic would be something like a rebrand. That I could technically see. I could see maybe something along those lines, but you'll never see the power they already have, especially when cloud gaming is going to continue to emerge over the years. Primo goes, one hand clapping is pro next week. That's true. Let me reach out to the devs anyways, because I'd love to get some keys, because technically I can just play it on Stadia Pro. So you're right, I don't need a key for it. Well, let me see if I can reach out anyways and see if they have some keys, because I think that would be fun, so I can showcase their game, so I can sing. I want to see how terrible that would be for me. Your guys' ears would bleed, I'm sure. Terry goes, hopefully they will have a more powerful Switch. It's way past time, and I'm a Nintendo fan saying this. Yeah. Bulls for life. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Ruben goes, oh, don't make me blush. Daniel, Nintendo is just comfortably lazy to go further than they are. Honestly, that's the thing with Nintendo. As I said earlier, they're literally in their own lane, and they don't care on what's going on around them. You know, they just don't. They literally do their own thing. I mean, at times to the detriment of their own user base. They do things that is not necessarily consumer friendly, but people are always gonna love Nintendo. So, you know, and Nintendo does do some good things. I don't want to just paint Nintendo in some negative way, because it's not all negative at all. There's a lot of positive, and then there's a little bit of some negative here, and so that's why Microsoft, they're not even gonna blink twice. So then when you don't have you don't have Nintendo really to worry about, then you have PlayStation. But PlayStation is really like Sony. What power do they don't have the things that Google or an Amazon have, and so it's not shocking he made that comment. The man's pretty smart. He's pretty smart, to give a lot of credit to him. Seeing how Microsoft got their start, I just thought it was weird Phil saying Google and Amazon didn't belong in gaming. Google is the clear definition of innovation, which makes a game better. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Randy. I'm with you on that big time. Luna has a lot of potential. It does. I think for me, this isn't, I know someone's going to take this like I'm knocking GeForce Now, but Luna for me has more potential. GeForce Now, I literally put GeForce Now in its own separate lane from everything else. It's just completely different. And I don't want to go on a GeForce Now rant, because I've been thinking a lot about GeForce Now for the last like 3 weeks, and it's really just in its own little lane. So Luna to me has a lot of potential if they can really flesh out more of their platform specific stuff, continue to build that library. And so Luna is going to be very intriguing to see. They're for me kind of the dark horse in the race right now. Kay says, Sonny, what game would you like to see on Stadia, like your most wanted? I was just talking to my friend yesterday. Lord knows if he watches these streams. One of my best friends. He was here at my place, and I was talking about Path of Exile. I'd love to see Path of Exile. My most. What game would you like to see on Stadia? Like for me, it was Diablo, right? But Microsoft now has that. So unless Google already made a deal with Microsoft before, with Activision Blizzard before the acquisition, now that game's not very realistic. So for me, I want to see an action RPG. We have 0 action RPGs on Stadia. 0. None. Zilch. So that's something that I absolutely want to see. And so for me, I guess it'd have to be like a Path of Exile or something. Probably my most wanted. For this year, I have quite a few games on that list. I'd love to see WW2K. I'd love to see Elden Ring. Love to see Dying Light 2. That for me is going to be huge. I have another YouTube channel where I cover a survival game, horror game, and so I'd love to play it on Stadia. What game am I giving away today? Thank you for reminding me. Last week I did not give away my stuff for Shantae, so we're gonna give away Shantae today, and it's called Shantae and the Half Genie Hero. So if this is already a Stadia Pro game, which I still forget if it is or not, you can actually gift this game away to somebody, or if you ever stop Stadia Pro, you can keep it yourself. So hopefully that works.
Okay, so this is one of my.
All right, hold on, guys. Give me a second. I don't know how did a home decor video make it into a Stream Beats lo-fi? What the heck? That's wild. Oh no, okay, it is working. Okay, cool. I'd be on Game Pass xCloud if they up the amount of data centers in tech and put PC Game Pass on GFN. That would be interesting, actually. Hey Sonny, I changed my DNS to Google servers and my internet became dope. Stadia's even more better. Nice, dude. That's interesting. I wonder how much better it is for you. Stadia has the worst game library and set themselves up to make it hard for devs to get games on Stadia. Best technology, but walled it in. So who are we comparing Stadia's game library to? Because if you compare Stadia's game library to xCloud, then yeah, xCloud has, I mean, how many games are on Xbox Game Pass in xCloud right now? Is it close? Do they have like 200? How many games? I don't even know. But let's just assume that you definitely have a better library. Let's just assume it on xCloud. Then you compare Stadia to Luna. Well, those two aren't even close. And if you compare GeForce Now doesn't really host their own games, their own library of games. It's more from Steam and Epic. So it's very debatable if you compare Stadia to GeForce Now in regards to, like, it'll be, what I'm trying to say is debatable, is what I'm trying to say is between each person you ask, you're going to get a different answer. Someone will go, Stadia's library has the games I want. Well, someone will then hear person B will go, GFN has the library I want. One thing GFN does have is a lot of good free-to-play games. And I think that's where they win for sure. They beat everybody in that, including xCloud. So it's all very different. So I disagree that Stadia has the worst game library. Is essentially what I'm trying to say there. I'm buying a laptop for hopefully in June for games that might never come out and modding. I'm actually getting myself a laptop as well next month, but I'm using it more for creating, because I need to be a little bit more mobile myself. So they're starting to make games playable natively in Chrome OS. Gaming Chromebooks are coming out. Kyle Bradshaw, yes, I saw that. I saw about the gaming Chromebooks. Been with Stadia since launch, but just picked up the Xbox Series S with Game Pass, and wow, it'll be nice if Stadia got the same AAA games. For sure, my man. I mean, that's a really good combination, having Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. My little brother uses it. He has his fun. He uses actually all three services. It's funny. He's actually been using a lot of GeForce Now right now, and he uses Stadia. He jumps from where the games are that he wants to play from one to the other, and I think that's how it's going to be. I keep saying that. That's how the future of cloud gaming is going to end up being. To me, it's pretty funny. I have huge faith in Stadia, to be honest. xCloud still freezes up on my way too much. I have a lot of faith in Stadia as well. I have a lot of faith. Maybe it's misplaced. You can definitely argue with me if you want. I can't says that Nintendo has a Switch Lite, purely handheld Switch. Why just not make a box that plays Switch games? I don't know why Nintendo does what they do. I try not to underestimate anything Amazon does. Exactly. You think any Sony games that got ported to PC, any chance coming to Stadia? No, I don't think there's any chance, and I'm making the mistake again. Sorry, guys, if I miss any of your messages, I'm making a big mistake. Where... Oh, no, I have no mods today, huh? All right, hold on. I have no mods today, so now I have to mod myself. Sorry, guys. We got a spammer. Yo, Devoy comes in. AAA games and region expansion is a must for 2022. Yes, it is a must. Yes. In general, something you absolutely want to see and hope to see. I'm actually going to be doing my Sunny Talk here, and it's going to be talking about those two things. Ruben says the only library Stadia is beating will probably be Luna. GFN is still 1,000+ games. However, they're indeed not theirs. Exactly, Ruben. It's not theirs. GFN's... I mean, I know this comes from a lot of the Stadia fans, but I know they're keeping track of like the top 100 games played, and Stadia's AAA's games is just as much up there as the other services. I mean, that's just kind of like a cherry-picked thing, though. So you're right. GFN has 1,000 game plus, probably, right? What you're saying. A lot of those are indie games that most people don't care about. So most people tend to compare the libraries by AAA titles. So it's like, again, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's like, what perception do you see it and how do you see it? And then you're going to get a different answer from everybody. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, like if someone were to tell me who has the best library, I would probably, but even then I haven't kept up. I would probably say it's maybe potentially xCloud, right? But then I can't play my games all that smoothly over there, so I don't bother. I gave up my subscription many months ago. Many months ago. I think it was like good 5 months ago now. Kay says GeForce Now is not as near as good as Stadia is. You have to sign in 2 or 3 times. Yes, the user experience with GeForce Now is still my biggest complaint. They're fixing it though. They're getting better, to their credit. Sunny breaking everything as always. Yeah. Do you think Activision Blizzard games will be Game Pass or Xbox exclusive next year, or we'll see how it is now? Daniel, that's a great question. I actually kind of like the non-cloud gaming question. I miss, technically it kind of is, right, with xCloud. I absolutely do expect for the majority in the future of the Activision Blizzard games to be exclusive to their ecosystem. Not only that, but I think when that Call of Duty deal is done, which I think it's like the next 3 Call of Duties, I fully expect those Call of Duties after that to be exclusive to both xCloud and all that stuff. I totally expect that 1000%, because you already kind of see the blueprint with the Bethesda games. And so Xbox is, again, they're making moves, and no one here is denying those moves, at least not on my end. And going back to the question about Sony porting games to Stadia, I just don't ever think that'll happen ever. Mods ban, please. Yeah, I'm having to do the ban. I have 0 mods today. Usually I have a mod, but not. It's because it's my fault. Yo, KB, how's it going? With Microsoft buying companies, I already read that one, right? Oh wait, no. With Microsoft buying companies, okay, this is a different question. Do you really think Stadia will survive if Microsoft or Sony keeps buying these developers? You know, that's one of those questions. And this isn't a knock on you, JJ, because I'm getting this question a lot. I think people are really just looking at this in the present right now, and they're not seeing how big and how long this whole process of cloud gaming is going to get. So you're specifically asking about Stadia. Let's put Stadia and Luna together, because I kind of put them more together. This is such a long game to be played. When you think about the markets that currently don't have gaming on a regular basis, they're not enjoying the Call of Duties. They're not enjoying all these like games that we're aware of that are staples that are on a yearly basis. You're gonna head into these markets, and they don't really necessarily have these like, oh my god, I gotta get Call of Duty instead of Battlefield. They don't have like these loyalties to anything. So going into these markets, because when you do that, you're going to open up gaming to so many more people that have never experienced AAA gaming of any kind, because a lot of the current games right now that are enjoyed by the most are still multi-plat games. You think about FIFA and EA. Right at the top of my head, I can't think of more right now, but there's still a lot of games that are coming out on multiple platforms, that really the one that could be the most accessible, as in the service that can be the most accessible, that can bring the best pricing, and the one that can really just get enough of the games that a lot of these countries are looking to play, and what they mostly play mobile. So if they're really big on like soccer, football, getting a game like FIFA would be important. I mean, it's just, you're essentially, the blueprint is what you're seeing with like Netflix, Disney Plus. Yeah, they're doing their own exclusive movies and all that stuff, and that's gonna matter. And I think xCloud right now is really the only one. But guess what? You're still seeing competition, right? Has Netflix knocked out other competition? No. Like, I am actually subscribed to Discovery Plus, like all these different things. There's different subscription services that have multiple, they've been everywhere. And I know it's not a complete apples to apples comparison, but essentially what's happening right now is these libraries are building up between like Amazon and Stadia. And when you come to these markets already presenting 200, 300, 400, 500 games, you're going to see people use these things. And it's almost like a YouTube thing, where YouTube creators always think they're like in competition with each other, when they're really not. Because what happens is the algorithm will, and if you guys know, when you guys watch a YouTube video, right, and you watch a YouTube creator, you don't subscribe to just one person in that genre. Like if you're someone who likes to watch, football highlights or something, or cooking channels, a good cooking channel, like you probably subscribe to several cooking, right? So there's gonna be room for multiple services. No, just because someone buys up exclusives that are popular here in North America and part of Europe doesn't mean death, really. So I just fully expect this to really just be on a whole level. Like, I can't foresee how it's going to look exactly right now, but as this thing continues, as cloud gaming continues to expand, and you're already coming in with hundreds of games in your library, and you make these very easily accessible, that's a lot of money to be made right there, guys. And once you start making that money, and that's coming in, because if we were to look at what gaming, so it was 180 billion, I mean, you start getting a piece of that pie, you can then take part of that pie you're making and then invest it in different places. So right now, the Xbox, Microsoft already making cloud only games. I kind of think that's where you can really pull a lot of new gamers from everywhere, from every walk of this planet. I think that's where the magic is. That's one of the reasons I was excited, so excited for Stadia when it first launched, and it was a bummer to see them get rid of their own games. But I still fully expect, like, even Amazon, Stadia, even Sony down the line to start hammering out their own cloud only games. And that's when you're really going to see maybe a little bit more of the market share really start to maybe lean one way or another. But right now it's so early to say. It's just so early, and there's just so many like X factors right now. And so it's like we're nowhere near, and the Microsoft getting Activision Blizzard is just like, it is a small spoke in the wheel right now. Wow, I just kept going and going. I apologize, everybody. What kind of laptop are you thinking of picking up? I'm gonna end up picking up one of the creator laptops. I'm thinking of getting a Zephyrus Duo 16. It's got like a double screen, and you can use the other screen for stuff with editing. So it's mostly a creator laptop. I don't think I'm gonna game. I don't really game on my like ever, unless I'm using it for my other YouTube channel, and I mostly just use Stadia like with my phone, or like that's where my gaming does. And even then, my gaming's not as much as I'd like it to be. I did a lot of gaming this past winter break around Christmas and all that. I know a lot of people are saying they saw me logged in a lot. Stadia needs a good battle royale like Warzone or Fortnite. Yeah, well, Warzone is very much potentially not happening now. In Fortnite, I've talked about Fortnite so much, Phil. I just don't think Fortnite will make much of a difference on Stadia. I really don't. It's one of those where I won't mind if we see it, but because Fortnite is so, again, accessible everywhere, I'm not sure anyone's going to go out of their way to experience it on... you know, that's not completely true because with iOS and all that stuff. So maybe you're right. If Stadia gets Fortnite and it's accessible, kind of what GeForce Now is doing. Yeah. Amazon is going Linux too. Well, how about that, KB? What does that tell you? Where are we going? We don't need mods. I know. I don't find jumping from service to service funny. Not that you're laughing either. I hate it. I hope Stadia can get every console, AAA, PC game available on their service. I mean, I think that's what every service is going to strive to do in a perfect world, right? They're going to want to get everything they can and then get everything they can day and date. I mean, again, those negotiations are happening. They just probably don't trend in the way we wish they would for whatever you use. I mean, even GeForce Now, I mean, people want certain games on GeForce Now, and it just, the negotiations just don't get to where they want them to be to have for that to happen for whatever reason. And I've heard of these negotiations happening with several services, and it's not as easy as we all think it is. You know, it's just a lot of stuff, a lot of factors that go into it. Let's be honest, most of the developers have something against cloud if they don't bring their game to the cloud because there's so many options right now, but they'll learn eventually. Well, I think right now it's yeah, Ruben, it's such an early, we're just such in the early game of this when it comes to all this cloud stuff, and you're completely right in that sense, that it's just so early that some publishers and developers haven't bothered. I mean, why hasn't Activision Blizzard bothered to put any of their stuff on anything prior to this Microsoft thing? They haven't even looked in that direction. KP, Google really needs to start buying studios. I heard Epic Games would import Fortnite to Stadia because they didn't see big enough player base worthy of them supporting another system on their roster. You know what's funny is, if now that I think about the Fortnite stuff and how they're like in legal battles with, you know, Google and Apple, you would think that they would try to, no, because it's still Google and Stadia, right? So yeah, so GeForce Now is kind of like the middleman off to the side that it's not affiliated. So no, you wouldn't see Fortnite on Stadia. You're not going to see Fortnite on Stadia, I think, ever. I'm just being honest. I forget that the Play Store and all that stuff and Google, it's all the same. I keep forgetting. Remember how Microsoft handles its first parties and even its relationship with second, it's not the best. Dylan, I would need to research that because I don't know exactly what you mean. I'm not doubting what you're saying, but I've talked about a little bit last week. I'm actually very involved, or I should say in the know, with Microsoft currently with one of their studios that they bought up, and it's because of my other YouTube channel, and I kind of know like a lot of what's going on, and they treat them really well, actually, like really, really well. So maybe things have changed, at least in regards to that one. But again, I have very small sample size. I have one studio that I know about. At least I think, guys, hey, hope nobody will buy Ubisoft because I love those games, and Ubisoft is one of the biggest supporters. Yeah, people have said Google should just go buy Ubisoft. Yeah, Aaron Reed, I keep hearing about how Stadia isn't trying hard enough to get the right games. But what other studios could be denying ports to Google's cloud? I think if we give Stadia time, it'll pull through. Aaron, I agree with you on that 100%. And the whole narrative of they're not trying hard enough to get games. I mean, who knows that? Who knows that? It's such a complicated process. It really is. It's not as simple as, you know, they email someone and they message someone and call someone over at, you know, EA, and it's just like, let's get these games on there. There's a lot of factors that go into this stuff. So I definitely almost disagree with that notion, that narrative that they don't try hard enough. But you know, it's one of those things where I'm with everybody that is wanting to be critical of Stadia and say, hey, Stadia, you need to get more games, whatever you got to do that. I totally get that. And I think we do need to hold them accountable in that sense. But, you know, this narrative that they're not trying hard enough, I don't know about that one. Randy says Google has a further reach than Microsoft, Sony. It really does. With that reach, Stadia is playing the long-term game with long-term plans. People underestimated how easy it is for Stadia to put gaming in a lot of homes. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I talk about every single week, to the point where I'm a broken record. It's funny because I've even seen someone, or people, what's the word? They just try to counter my points, and they don't do it to me directly. They do it passively aggressive, like passive aggressive. And I always go back to this thing where I go, where are the cloud gamers right now that exist that are going to like eat all this up right now? Right now, cloud gaming has a gaming perception, negative perception in it. It's got a cloud over it itself. Ironically, cloud gaming has a cloud over itself that it doesn't work very well, that it's completely inferior, like hugely inferior to local hardware gaming. That is literally the narrative right now. So then, if the current market of gamers who buy up their stuff on Nintendo Switch, they buy up their stuff on Xbox, they buy up their stuff on PlayStation, and they've been doing it for the last 2 decades, and they're the ones that really like are just like, no, this cloud gaming stuff doesn't work. You know, there's no, like, Amazon, Google can do all this stuff, and nobody's still gonna be convinced. That has to take time. Because anytime somebody will, you know, they play on their, like if I were to play on my phone right now on my 5G, that's extremely flawed. And it was my first time picking up cloud gaming, and I was playing it, and I started to get a not a great experience. I start to paint all of it in this light, when the truth is actually sitting there, proven now, by the way, thanks to Digital Foundry, who just recently proved with their video last week that GeForce Now and Stadia, by the way, I think the numbers, and I need to start having this pulled up because I should just pull it up all the time to anybody, but GeForce Now was actually faster than a local Xbox Series X at 60 hertz. Now, obviously, when it jumped over to the 120 and the higher FPS, you know, the local was faster, but at 60, GeForce Now was faster, and then Stadia was like a 0.87. Meanwhile, the Xbox Series X was at a 0.85. So this narrative that, you know, cloud gaming just isn't good enough right now, I still hear it all the time. Cloud gaming is years away. And even when years away comes for these people, they're gonna say, oh, now it's just like just a little less inferior, you know, it's not that great. So there's just such a perception problem right now. So there, like, you can invest as much as you want right now, but there isn't people who are going to be picking up this game right now, these games and these services. So right now, cloud gaming is in a bit of a bubble right now. The gamers that are in it, who are just like parroting all these weird narratives, and it's like they're in their own little bubble. And the truth is that this thing is such a long-term thing. It's not even funny. Like, this is many, many years away. And right now, all you can really do is continue to get games on your service, continue to flesh out the hardware, continue to do things nobody else is doing, you know, make those deals, work those things out, and just go from there. In my opinion, at least that's what I would do. I mean, you're seeing it happen pretty much with every service except Xbox. They're the ones that are they're going above and beyond, but they're not doing it just for their cloud service. They're doing it for also their local stuff. You know, they're buying Bethesda, they're buying Activision Blizzard, you know, not because they're just thinking about cloud gaming, but they're wanting to sell their boxes within the next, 5 to 10 years as well. So again, this is just such a such a slow burn, guys. It really is. Sega's also facing troubles in Japan. Of course, they need Game Pass money. Microsoft's biggest concern is Google and Amazon for a reason. They might even know something we don't. That's what I laugh about, Travis. 100% they have metrics and numbers and things none of us do, including myself. Like, and there's a reason why Phil is trying to paint, you know, Google and Amazon in a bad light. And there's a reason why he went from 2019, where he gave his big quote of like, you know, I'm not worried about Sony, Nintendo. I'm worried about these other guys. 2 years later, he goes on to say the exact same thing. And this is still after Amazon Luna is still slow. After Stadia closed down SG&E a year ago, he's still worried. Why? Because they have such massive tools in their tool bag that it's so, there's a word for it, but it's so, you're just short-sighted if you think that because Amazon or because Google isn't buying these big studios at this moment, that it's like they're doomed and it's done. It's so short-sighted. This is such a long process, man. It goes, I hear you, Sonny, but it sounds like Stadia is settling for second or third best. And you know what? I don't think they're settling for second and third best. And even if they are, though, who think about it right now, who's number one? I don't know the rankings. Is Nintendo behind Sony? I think it is, right? Second and third and fourth place, how much money, how much billions are they making? Think about it. They're making billions, right? They're still making revenue big time. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, there's too much money to be made, especially in these markets. I'm going to repeat this. Probably, I'm going to start repeating this every week, probably. All these markets that don't have console gaming, they don't have PC gaming. There is billions of gamers right now. Millions for sure. Hundreds of millions of gamers right now that cannot get access to a console. They cannot get access to PC gaming at any form of close to a reasonable price for whatever reason, tariffs or whatever. So these consoles are upcharged 2 to 3 times above MSRP. So all the gaming is done via mobile or whatever easy way it is to play something, you know, fast, cheap, and accessible. And that is where cloud gaming really bridges that market. So why would Google and Amazon with their power ever think about leaving? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why does Stadia don't create their own Diablo saga placed in a server Space Jam like world? Blue Fire, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean like their own game? Or I'm not sure what you mean by that. Netflix was announcing to go into cloud gaming this year. Do you have any information about this? No, they haven't gone into cloud gaming. They've been doing their own little gaming stuff. Is it cloud? Are they running on the cloud? I'm not exactly sure, Powell. I haven't been keeping up with Netflix as much. Stadia needs a big move now. The future. KB, the only one making moves is Xbox. I'm curious, KB, why do you pick out Stadia specifically? What about Amazon? Does Amazon need to make big moves? I feel like KB, you and I just go in a circle over and over every week. We just repeat the same things to each other, and I give you long explanations, and you give me a one sentence every time and say, Stadia and Google just need to make the big moves. They're gonna lose. And it's like, the type of stuff Google can do at YouTube is not even funny. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you know, people will say, well, why isn't Google making those moves now? It keeps going back to what I'm telling you. People they're just not ready to adopt cloud gaming just yet. But as the technology continues to get better, you're gonna see it. Yes. So cloud gaming is not in its infancy. It 100% is in its infancy. What do you mean, KB? Again, cloud gaming, the market for cloud gaming is only 1 to 2%. 1 to 2%. That's it. Yeah, someone is spamming right now. That sucks. We have 0 mods. You know, Ruben, are you in my chat right now, Ruben? Let me see. Ruben, I'm gonna mod you if I can, if you don't mind, Ruben. There it is, Ruben. You're a mod. You know what? I'm gonna mod YouTube. I'm gonna mod my homeboy hashtag media guy as well. Hashtag media guy, what's up, brother? I hope you're doing well. Hey, Sunny Cloud Games. Hope you have a great show, and good luck to you all in all the giveaway. Thanks, my man. I hope you're doing well. do you still watch WWE? I was watching the Royal Rumble yesterday. It was a bit of a poop show. Now I just watch it for the lulz. The spammers know the mods are sleeping. Yeah, I modded a couple of you guys. Sony PlayStation is losing. Sony discontinued the PS Vita, then the Switch is rising. You know, that is funny, Pay. It's funny how they discontinued it and then there goes the Switch doing its thing. And Sony now doesn't plan for cloud gaming service. That's not true. I think they are planning for a cloud, unless there's some news that I haven't heard. They've been doing quite a few patents on things. So Sony's coming to the PlayStation, I'm sorry, to the cloud gaming market so behind, years behind. It's gonna, so imagine if you're Phil Spencer and you are completely aware of the 100 million gamers you can reach that have yet to be tapped into with cloud gaming, and you see Sony doing nothing really. I mean, they have PlayStation Now, but I mean, I think it's a consensus that's kind of like the lowest tier of cloud gaming. And so of course, and Nintendo doesn't even bother other than the few ports that they do with the cloud. So of course, if I'm Phil Spencer, guess what? I'm not even close to worried about Sony and PlayStation, because who's actually trying to make moves within cloud gaming? Think about it. Think about it, guys. Think about it. Think about it. It's there. It's like in front of our faces. This is such a long game. There's this notion that you have to choose either when it comes to Stadia. I have an Xbox Series X, a PlayStation 4, Stadia, and I'm perfectly fine going in between the platforms to game, and Stadia is my main. Randy, you're preaching to the choir. I'm with you. I try to say that. I don't understand necessarily kind of, and this isn't a knock on anybody, I promise. With cloud gaming, it's just different. I to a degree, I get if you invest in an Xbox and a PlayStation, you're probably wanting to make sure that your investment's always going to be, there. Like if you're invested in the Xbox ecosystem, the PlayStation ecosystem, and Stadia to a degree, because you are investing in the platform of Stadia when you buy a game. So it makes sense. But with cloud gaming, it's a little bit of a different ball game. You can go from one to another, and for some reason, I think, and maybe it wouldn't, Stadia and Google would never do this, but the truth is that Stadia, and when they closed down SG&E, in essence, they announced they're taking a step back. Obviously, you're not taking a step forward, right? You're not taking a step forward by closing SG&E. So in essence, they said, hey, we're taking a step back. And rightfully so. And when that happened, we all freaked out. Like, what's going on? What is this? Like, what's happening? But since that date, you've seen Stadia continue to focus on improving the platform itself, and more games have been coming out, and features have been coming out, and long-term plans have been happening with the Stadia porting tools and all these things. And so you take a step back and you refocus, you rehone your projection of what you're doing, and you let this thing continue to just ride out, and you focus on things like expansion while you're building up the library, while you're building up features. Luna's doing the same thing, FYI. Luna's doing just a little slower, but they're doing the exact same thing. So it's for me, it's so confusing. The whole cloud gaming is just a different ball game. Microsoft doesn't care about selling a box. They want a subscriber. Yes, that's actually true. Xbox wants KB. That might be the one thing we agree on for once. Microsoft wants people in their ecosystem, and that's true. And if you're in their ecosystem, it could lead to you buying an Xbox Series X at some point, or however that is. Being in their bubble is beneficial. So I'm with you on that, KB. We agree on that. Google has a kind of relationship with AT&T and WB. What does that mean for Hogwarts Legacy? Batman. Bluefire, I hope that means that we potentially see it on Stadia. That's all I can really say on that. I'm trying to catch up with the chat so we can go into the Sunny Talk today, but it's like we're failing. Or I'm failing catching up with you guys. You guys are killing it today. How is Google not ready for cloud gaming when it has shown more progress in a shorter period of time than its competitors. Oh, it's ready. It's absolutely ready. And who's saying it's not ready? The thing is that the people wanting to adopt and use cloud gaming is not there. You know, GeForce Now, even though they came with them showcasing GeForce Now being, you know, faster latency wise than an Xbox Series X, that, trust me, that didn't mean all of a sudden people are going to start adopting it, because it's just not, you know, it's just got a long way to go on. And as you could gradually improve the internet, 5G for me sucks. I had better Stadia gaming with my 4G than my 5G. I've kind of regretted going to 5G. It's been so bad for me. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's just because too many people are on the network where I am, or whatever the issue is. So as all this stuff improves, I mean, you're going to see it more and more adopted. You'll get, especially as the newer generations come too. They're just, and it's happening. I hear it from parents who have Stadia or even Luna, and they're using cloud gaming, and their kids are using it, and there's like, they don't know how it's being done. They're just enjoying the game. So you're going to continue to see that. Real quick, let me jump in here. And Randy, thank you for the 11 months. Okay, so that's how we can highlight how many months by you doing that, which is awesome. Just think about Stadia expanding to Brazil, where consoles are very expensive. Imagine the impact Stadia is going to make on those gamers' long-term plans. Exactly, Randy B. And I said this last week. You're not going to see it immediately. Stadia is not going to launch day one, and all of a sudden you have 50 million people join. But gradually it's going to get adopted in a place like Brazil much quicker than it is over here, because of everything I've been talking about, all those negative perceptions cloud gaming is fighting through right now that are not warranted. And so a place like Brazil or a place like India, they're going to adopt this much quicker. And once they get adopted, they get on board and they're starting to use Stadia, then you're going to see publishers and developers throwing themselves wanting to be on these services. And again, this goes for this isn't just Stadia specific, even Luna as well. So it's absolutely going to happen that way. We got Joe D. Wilkins coming with the 5. Sony is taking the Apple approach. They're going to let everyone else be the first while they learn from everybody else and hit the ground running. I think you might be right, Joe D. I think you might be absolutely right. And Apple's absolutely famous for that. Apple's really famous for that. How long has this stream been going, guys? Because we have, holy crap, are you kidding me? We haven't done the Sunny talk, and I haven't caught up with you guys. Have been killing it today, guys. This stream was only supposed to be an hour. We're gonna extend it today. Okay, let's do. Okay, I apologize if I can't get to your guys' message. I'm so sorry. I always want to read everything, you guys. I love listening to all your guys' thoughts, so let them in the chat like you guys have been. It has been so awesome. I love hearing everything you guys have to say. And keep in mind, I'm just a guy giving my thoughts who, you know, has a YouTube channel and thinks about all these things, and I don't pretend like my opinion is the number one opinion or anything, but I just give my thoughts, and I hope you guys appreciate them. And I love hearing your guys' thoughts, because you guys always get me thinking. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of this. But as we're going to start doing every single week now, I'm going to do this segment where I call Sunny Talk. And today's talk, and this is where I'm just going to talk on my own for a bit. What will Stadia do in 2022? And that's today's theme. And then I'm going to turn this into a video for the members who miss it. Real quick. Again, we got VNHG coming in with the $2. I really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. And hold on, let me see. Ruben says, don't forget to type in exclamation raffle. No, Ruben already killing it with the modding. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you so much. All right. We're going to do Sunny Talk. So I have a lot of notes written here, and I'm hoping this isn't going to be too long. But knowing me, I'm going to babble on forever. But the big question I think a lot of people have on their mind is, what is Stadia going to do in 2022? And I wanted to go through this. I have a really nice little list here of things, of games, features, and stuff along those lines. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the music now. And again, if you're a member on the channel, you'll have some exclusive content. So I just want to I don't think this will be turned into a public video, but either way, Stadia in 2022 is going to be really interesting in compared to other years, because this year is going to be essentially a mystery on two big fronts, and it's like the two biggest fronts that we're all wondering. but I have a list here of things that I wanted to talk about and things that I fully expect to see happen with Stadia in 2022. Real quick, let me, if you guys are throwing me some love here. Joe D. Wilkins with the 10 months says, really enjoying your channel since I found out about it. Best cloud gaming channel on YouTube. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Joe D. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate it. So I'm going to jump in here, guys, and I'm just going to start talking. So Stadia in 2022, what do we expect to see? What do we think we'll see? And what I think I'm going to see, and what for sure we are going to see, if any of that makes sense. And I have quite a bit of a list here. Real quickly, let's start with probably the biggest elephant in the room with Stadia in 2022. And what are we going to see with games? And I think this is a really key question that I fully admit, and I've sat there and I have processed this quite a few times. This year is a massive mystery. And the closest thing that we have to information on this is back at the end of 2020. One of the Stadia employees, who's no longer with Stadia, he's like above now in Google. He had mentioned that I think there was 400 developers and publishers working on Stadia games. Now, at the time when he said that, Stadia was going to release 100 games in 2020. So maybe we can't count those games. I have counted them in the past just to be conservative. We jump into 2021. And we had about 100-ish games as well. So theoretically speaking, there should be 300 games, right? When SG&E closed, some games did scale back and ended up being multi-platform. Some maybe not even come. I think there's one, it's Tishia or something, didn't come to Stadia. But what ended up happening, a couple games got lost. But for the most part, these were deals that were already made. And so far, every year, it's been projecting at about 100 games. Now, I kind of expect almost roughly the same number, but what we haven't accounted for is what actually happened in 2021. Were they still working out more deals with publishers? Were they still working out more deals with developers? Some of the games that I know we're going to see this year is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. This is going to end up being a big game from Ubisoft, and pretty much anything from Ubisoft. There's the Ghost Recon game, X Defiant. I mean, we already know about Ubisoft, right? Will we see FIFA? That's a really big question. Will we see EA games essentially? Will we see Madden? I think we might see those games, but that's something that hopefully has been worked out. We don't know. And then there's some games coming in the next couple months that I'm even wondering. Will we see WWE 2K? Because that's a 2K game, and we've had 2K games. Tiny Tina's Wonderland falls into that. And essentially, this year is an insane year in regards to what we're going to expect. And rewinding even a little more again, John Justice has said they're no longer announcing really what games are coming ahead of time. And one of the reasons I can tell you that has happened, why that directive is now within Google and Stadia, is because, and I can even give you an example, the game Ark Survival was supposed to be coming out, I think it was sometime in early 2021, and we didn't see it until later in 2021. So what happens is a lot of the times these games end up getting announced, the developers and publishers, or specifically the developers, aren't able to get the game out in the time that they want. And so Stadia has said, okay, we're going to stop just giving dates for these, including on upcoming AAA games. We ended up seeing Resident Evil Village with only about a month announcement. So what's happening is we're getting some big announcements for games, and we're getting them with not a lot of time, and that's because of a lot of the uncertainty. We're going to talk about the developer and publishers and them working on games later in this here. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Android Sanjin, who says $2, comes in with the $2. Really appreciate it. Close Stadia and push Play Pass. Okay. All right. Thank you for the $2. Okay. So anyways, so again, the big theme here with games in 2022 is it's going to be a huge mystery. We have really almost no clue what to expect. And we have yet to get a little mini roadmap where they project how many games we're going to see this year. I think we are going to see some games. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised by some games, but we're also going to probably not see a lot of games that a lot of us would like to see. And it's going to be a little bit more of the same thing. And I think this will continue to change as Stadia continues to expand in the years ahead. As as these games are being developed, because last year they made the deal to give a bigger portion to developers and publishers. So a lot of changes happened last year to set themselves up for future games. And so we might not necessarily see that in 2022. So it's going to be fascinating. So that's just on the games front. I wanted to talk about on some things that I definitely think we are going to see with Stadia in 2022. And I have a nice little list here. I think you're going to absolutely see more TV manufacturer partnerships. Again, that's continuing to increase the accessibility of Stadia, making it more justifiable to publishers and developers to say, hey, these are the numbers. We got these people using Stadia and any given month through these TVs, through this stuff, and you'll see more games. Again, all this like connects, man. It's all connecting. I also have more mobile and internet providers working with those. We kind of saw that with AT&T. You even saw a little bit of white labeling, but you also saw supposedly AT&T really work with the Stadia team on making sure that the games run optimally. We actually saw, and I have this written down, at one point, John Justice, when he said Stadia, that's right. So John Justice had said he wanted to work with internet providers here in the US, potentially cutting data caps. That's a big problem we have here, and it's once again another barrier in cloud gaming that we kind of deal with, especially here in the United States. And I know John Justice isn't with the company anymore, but he, I'm sure that narrative within them is still wanting to work with those providers, because we see that with AT&T, who is now providing home internet here in the United States. So I fully expect to see Stadia continue to work with them. And then kind of thinking about the white labeling again, and you saw the white labeling with AT&T. I fully expect that to still be a thing, and more white labeling continuing to happen. And you've seen almost two prongs of it with the AT&T having Batman, and then thank you for the super chat, really appreciate that. With AT&T having Batman and it being made within and used within Stadia, hopefully we see Batman at some point. But you also see it positively, especially with Ubisoft, where they have a link to, I think they've had it within the last couple of weeks here with I'm drawing a blank here on the game. But they have it on their website with a Stadia logo where you can click their game, Rainbow Six Extraction. You click their game and you jump right into the Stadia version of it. Okay, real quick, let me give a shout out to the $5 from VNHG. Amazing tag team, Sony with Stadia. That would be a good tag team. Luna with Nintendo. Okay, Xbox and GeForce Now. Your thoughts? That would be cool, man. But I don't think that would be realistic to see Sony with Stadia, Luna with Nintendo. So you're saying Amazon with Nintendo and Xbox with GeForce Now. Your thoughts? Xbox has its own infrastructure for how to run their cloud gaming stuff, so it doesn't benefit them in any way, shape, or form to work with anybody, because they would just lose money. So it's better for them to do their own thing. And then Stadia and Sony, it kind of goes back to the same thing I just said. Sony doesn't have their own thing, but I know they're working with actually with Microsoft on with Azure, and so I think they might be working together and going, let's keep Amazon and Google out of this. You know, so like let's not work. Let's be in our own little gaming bubble. So I would never see that. And so, and then your other one, what was your other one? I think that's it, right? Luna, yeah, I already addressed them all. So those are my thoughts, my men, on that. Really appreciate the 5. All right, guys. And then features. So another thing that what we could see in 2022 with Stadia is features. And this one is kind of a little bit of a mystery, but I think this one it's going to be a little more transparent. And I have a couple things here written down. I would love to see something like the Luna Couch on Stadia, where you give a code and you're able to let someone play your game. And I think that's something we could realistically see, especially since that's one of those things where it just continues to expand Stadia in a sense, where you start to get, people who are using the platform, having their friends, having family use it, and then going, oh, okay, this is pretty good. So I totally could see that happening. I could also see Stadia working on fleshing out things like the Stadia streaming, when you're streaming to YouTube, and potentially building upon that, because when you start to get Stadia in more markets, and then those people in those markets can start using their own hardware to stream, because imagine if it's hard for these other countries to get a hold of high-end gaming PCs, high-end or just Xbox Series X's or any of that. You know, imagine being able to let them stream games and how that could blow up. So there's so many different potentials here. So I could totally see Stadia working on that. And then the UI refresh in general. I think that the Stadia UI from the CCTV, the Chromecast Ultra, all that needs a lot of work. And I would be shocked if we don't see a UI kind of refresh or UI fix or just more fleshed out, because you can't hide games right now. Sorting through games, even though there's a search bar within your own thing, is a little bit of a pain. So I would expect to see those things happen for Stadia, and I think that's one of those realistic ones we can absolutely see. Finally, the last thing I have here written is, could we see more hardware improvements? And this one I really, really want to highlight here, because a lot of people are convinced Stadia really needs to upgrade their hardware to compete. And this one's kind of a really tricky one. And I'm going to read what I have here. It says, I put this one is very much up in the air. And the reason for that is that Stadia is capable right now of 4K 60 FPS. How do we know that? We have games that are running at 4K 60 FPS. We have like Division 2. We have Doom Eternal. We have games that can run. When you think about the games that run on Stadia and run at the best, and some of the best ported games over, think about how those games specifically have had more time to cook in the oven. They've had more time to develop. And so I think the most realistic thing we could potentially see in 2022, because they announced it in 2021, is like the porting tools. I think it's streamlining the process quicker, because I think what happens is that a lot of these developers get their hands on the toolkit for Stadia, and they go, wow, if I want to get this game 4K 60, that's a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work, and we don't have the dev cash. We don't have the money right now to invest in getting these games at that point. That is where theoretically a hardware upgrade would maybe bridge that gap a little quicker, but I'm not sure if we're going to see that. So I think, at least in 2022. So I think them working on those porting tools, making it easier, making it quicker. And this goes back to what I've been wishing, and that is that Stadia just be more consistent with, not Stadia themselves, but the developers being more consistent with getting the games on Stadia working at 4K 60. So I would be shocked if we see a hardware improvement flat out, but more like a software improvement, if that makes any sense. So I think that is the most realistic thing. So going back to that, I fully expect to see features. I fully expect to see games, I think, and I've said this before, consistently come out come out in more consistent basis with 4K 60 in options of performance and visual modes as the months go by. You're already seeing that. We're at least getting a performance and visual mode, which is kind of like the bare minimum, and I think you're going to see that as the bare minimum going forward. And then going back to games, that is where I'm a little lost, to say the least. Games is something that I wish I had any idea. I hope we hear from the Stadia team in the weeks and months ahead on that. I fully expect big AAA games to, I think, be announced, and this is just me guessing, I have no inside information, be announced within just weeks, and we're going to be scrambling like, oh, shoot, we're getting this big game. And I think you're going to continue to see that a little by little, unfortunately, and we're not getting that time ahead of time unless it's like a really cut and dry deal. So, oh, shoot, the subscriber. So there it is, guys. Those are what I think we're going to see in 2022. To say that Stadia is in a fascinating position this year would be an understatement. I don't know if we're going to see the leaps and bounds, because cloud gaming itself still needs leaps and bounds to go as a whole. But I still think you're going to see significant strides. And expansion, I think, into more countries is something we're absolutely going to see. I didn't put that in. I think I did put that somewhere on my list, and I didn't mention it. And I think expanding, more consistency, and then I think you're going to see kind of the normal set of amount of games we've been seeing on a year-to-year basis. And I think where this thing really starts to make noise is in the next years ahead. And hopefully I'm not repeating myself, but all I can do is gather the tea leaves like I've been doing on this channel every single month that I've been running this channel, and it's kind of where I'm seeing it's going, and it's just fascinating. So we'll continue to see how this continues to play out. All right. There it is, guys. Wanted to do my little Sunny talk. Let me see if we can start catching up with you guys real quick. We got ton of you guys. Thank you again for the donations from VNHG. Let me go put on some music. Oh, shoot. Put on some music. Thank you again for the donations. Really appreciate it. Hopefully that answered your question that you said there. I'm going to jump a little bit ahead. And Mike goes, no search bar in the app or stream to YouTube. Billy says, getting Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires on Stadia. Oh, you're going to be getting it? Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. I'm going back to reading your guys' thoughts here. Hi, Sonny. I think that Stadia should drive forward with some snazzy new controllers and beefed up Chromecast with a Stadia logo all over everything. People like to feel a tangible object. I could not agree more with you on this. Could not agree more. And I think this is something that's very underestimated. And I'm talking about the second part of what you said. Now, I absolutely hope, and I've been kind of asking for this for some time, is I'd like to see more Stadia controller colors, and like you said, just more hardware. Even though cloud gaming is cloud gaming, still people like to have something. A controller is the perfect thing because you need a gamepad to play these games, right? Technically, you don't, and now you can just use touchpad in a lot of cases, which is awesome, by the way. But I'm with you on this. To a degree, I think having some form of hardware is always a good thing. And I think that's kind of where, in my opinion, I have a lot of thoughts on GeForce Now, but I kind of think where that's one of the things with GeForce Now. And again, I go back to, I was in a meeting with them. This was a long time ago now, like over a year and a half ago. It was like a year and a half ago, where I had a meeting with some of the guys at the top of GFN, and I asked them, do you guys have any plans to do like your own controller? Because, you know, as the Amazon and Stadia controllers have, you know, the built-in where they connect straight to the servers type of thing, that built-in technology to reduce the latency even further. The guy kind of laughed at me. He's like, that's not what we do. We're not gonna do hardware. That defeats the purpose, kind of thing. And I was just kind of like, okay, and I didn't say anything else. I think it's short-sighted to not have something that is a part of your service that doesn't identify with it, because, you know, you kind of start to have a little bit of that loyalty. Unfortunately, that loyalty tends to extend a little further to tribalism and all that stuff. But I think it's certainly a factor, and certainly something I hope to see with Stadia and Luna. I want to see more controllers, more maybe even like a specific dongle set, you know, for cloud gaming only, where it can do other stuff, but where it's really trying to make sure you're getting the absolute best experience, however that looks, even if it's just, you know, and it's still going to be cheaper than buying a console, right? So I'm with you about that. Cloud gaming is all about accessibility, and I think having tons of options is always a good thing. So I'm with you on that, Pixel Bing. I don't agree with the porting argument, Sonny. Not at all. Not all devs have the time to spend optimizing. There needs to be more headroom, better hardware. So if the software is upgrading, I think like Vulkan just recently went from a new build, right? And if the hardware is there and it's just a matter of the time constraints, like if we know the hardware is already capable of 4K 60, if you were to like, and this is just me being in very layman's terms, because obviously even myself, I don't have deep knowledge into this stuff, but if it was as simple as just like what you have with Luna, where you just, you know, you click a button and all of a sudden your game's on Amazon Luna with Windows. If you could make it to where it's that easy as well, and you can get the games optimized to 4K 60 because we know the hardware is capable. Here's the thing. Stadia is capable of 4K 60 because we've seen that with games, but the games aren't exactly running like ultra high, like a top-end high-end gaming PC. It's more like running 4K 60, but like the game on medium settings, right? Medium to high settings. And people would be okay with that. So if you were able to bridge those two together, I think that's what, I mean, they've kind of signaled that's what they're working on. And I think that's the realistic, I'm looking at this from like a realistic approach, because the thing with hardware upgrades is with all the chip shortages and everything that's going on, it's been hard so we don't know what effect that's had on being able to upgrade all the Stadia blades. So there's just a lot of factors that go into it. I'm just looking at what we've seen evidence provided to us from Stadia themselves, and I think that's where they're trending and they're trying to go. And the cool thing is we are starting to see at the very minimum at least like a performance and visual mode on games if they can't get the 4K 60. And I think a lot of this just goes to the fact that the developers of these games that bring their games onto Stadia just don't have, like you said, they don't have the time to optimize it to look good at 4K 60 and be stable and decent looking the whole way through, because that costs money to get that up. Like, it costs money to sit there and try to clean up the port and get it working as perfect as possible, and so they don't want to invest in that. You know, could we argue that Google should just throw them the cash so they can invest to make sure it's like that? Yeah, we could argue that, and I probably won't push back on you on that at all, because I hear you on that. Like, I hear you, and we've talked about it before. Stadia could be a better gatekeeper as well. I mean, you know, we're definitely not going to not give Stadia a pass, but at the same time, all you can do is sit there and see what they're doing to advance and what they're trying to accomplish. And I totally understand, because I think in the perfect world, what you really want is for Stadia to make it so easy to get these games on here where it's just not a lot of work. And so when that happens, then it's easier to run over to EA and say, EA, we really want to see, you know, It Takes Two, just giving you a random example. It Takes Two, we really want to see this game. Can you just get it over? We've made everything so much faster. All you have to do is just, you know, click a button. Like, I'm just being theoretical here, but I think that is more important. That's why I see why they're doing it, because you can only control what you can control. And if you can't upgrade the blades because maybe of the chip shortages or whatever, that to me makes a lot of sense. And you're seeing that they have been working on that. Where they are in that process is now the number one question I have. Is this porting tool now fleshed out and ready to go? Does that mean now we're going to start seeing more developers? Like, there's all these questions I personally have and love to see. Randy goes, before hardware, Stadia has a focus on expanding first. More gamers means more money. And that's the thing, Randy, they have multiple focuses, and I think that's one of the main ones, because that's where a lot of movement within your platform can really do some things. And expanding is pretty up there, which means better games and better partnerships. Exactly. That's exactly what I've been saying pretty much every week. I feel like a broken record, and I feel bad for you guys who watch, but a lot of people watch and they don't, you know. Yeah, I don't know. All right, got to go to sleep. Keep at it, Sonny. Thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Stadia should do something massive first quarter, or we'll take another avenue. I don't think Stadia is going to do anything massive this first quarter. And again, Mike, you're saying Stadia should do something massive. Why should they do something massive? Why should Amazon Luna do something massive? Why should GeForce Now do something massive? And what do you mean by massive? Like, I just want some context. I'm literally just asking because I want to know what you mean, not because I'm trying to argue with you. I swear I'm not trying to argue with you. For me, it's just, again, cloud gaming is just so small right now that you could make a massive move right now, but whatever moves you make, it's not gonna trend anywhere for in the near future, if that makes any sense. So if, let's say, for example, Amazon were to buy EA, I would venture to guess that Amazon would use EA to make their normal money off multi-platform stuff, but maybe as they continue to flesh out Luna in the years ahead, because it's going to take years, because that's just how it's trending, I could maybe see exclusive, but any moves you make now, it's definitely future moves. So if you're talking about right now in the short term, somebody needs to make a move so they can do something in the market. Like, that's just not going to happen really until, again, I go back to like really the cloud only games, which I think is an important part of cloud gaming's future in regards to adopting cloud gamers themselves. So but right now, getting into markets that don't have AAA gaming and console gaming and PC gaming accessible is one of the biggest things you can move. So if by moves that's what we mean, then I'm with you on that. And that goes for Luna too. Right now, if Amazon Luna can get themselves in India right now, do you know how huge that would be for Luna, even with their library that they have now? Don't forget to type in /ref. Thank you, Ruben. Really appreciate that. We're gonna do, guys, I'm blind. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left, and we'll do the giveaway here in about 10 minutes. Reese says the gameplay is incredibly smooth on Stadia app and the Chromecast with Google TV. I have two now, one in the living room and one in the bedroom. Nice. I see Nvidia buying merging with Nintendo. I don't see that at all. Nintendo does not work well with others, KB. Nintendo is not really all about that. Like, that's not a Nintendo thing. I think Stadia should make game-specific touch controls as Xbox has done. It makes gaming on mobile actually a good option right now. I absolutely agree with you on this one, actually. I see this being part of what I talked about earlier, where if it takes time right now to get a Stadia game on Stadia, if it takes time for a game to be ported over to become a Stadia game, I could see them going, okay, this is already taking maybe already past our budget, and so working on touch controls is not a priority. So this kind of falls in line with making everything more streamlined, quicker, faster, so we can see things like specific touch controls. So I'm with you on this. I think you're on the money, and you're right. xCloud works on specific touch controls, and it makes sense because it's easier to get a game on xCloud, obviously. So then the developers can go ahead and work on specific controls because, you know, they're seeing the numbers from Game Pass, which is pretty hefty, and they can do it. So I'm with you on that. And I think that's part of something Stadia will have to work on in the future with their games, making sure that they're getting their own custom touch controls. We're seeing a little bit. Direct touch is a thing with things like Humankind and some of these other games. Says custom design controller skins. Yeah, that would be cool. I have moved to PS5 from Stadia. Do you think Stadia should be on PS5 to have a chance of survival? No, I don't think you'll see that. Hey, Dwight, man, that's awesome that you're enjoying PS5, my man. But I don't think any of those two are related together. No. Xander says, will Google enable normal Bluetooth on its controller so we can play Stadia games wirelessly? I don't know what's going on with that, Xander, and I'm with you. I hope that we get to see the Bluetooth enabled at some point. Stadia themselves were talking about the new API. Yep. I have two Stadia controllers, two Luna controllers, two Xbox One controllers. Nice. 4 360 controllers. All right, I want 4 Series X controllers to complete my gauntlet. Nice. Arkham goes, I'm not on Stadia for the graphics. You know, it's funny that you're not on Stadia for the graphics, but if the long-term plans that I think really got disrupted with COVID and all the chip shortages, if the long-term plans of what Google still wants to happens, Google will be up there if they still plan to go that route, because they talked about 8K 120 FPS, which is insane. Cyberpunk was great on Stadia, so why not get Witcher 3 next gen on Stadia Pro with ray tracing? Yeah, Martin, I mean, that'd be awesome. I don't think Witcher 3 would make much noise if it were to drop on Stadia now, but I know a lot of us who use Stadia would love to see it. Key says, will COD ever come to Stadia? The only way COD will ever come to Stadia is if a deal was already in place, and it's possible a deal could have been in place for COD, but I expect Microsoft to eventually take that and go exclusive with it down the line. Google needs to have more games with direct touch. Yes, I agree with you, Jason. Agreed. Essentially, direct touch or just touch control support. Again, I think the reason you don't see it is why I said earlier. We've seen what we see. We've seen that when devs put the effort into a Stadia port, it's just as good as the PS5 and Xbox. It just takes more time and effort than it's worth in terms of making their money back. I like how you guys always take my babbling self and write in like a sentence, 2 sentences, and explain it better than I could. Nick is exactly correct. Exactly on the money. And that's just kind of the situation. I mean, it's just the way it is. Michael's, yeah, seriously, if Stadia were bringing 4K 60 for most games, I definitely wouldn't be calling for the upgrade. It's just Stadia doesn't seem to have the grunt where it is. Yeah, when Stadia, if they're able to do the upgrades, then you're completely right, Mike. You'll see these games completely be 4K 60 across the board every time, consistently 1000%. And that would be the easy, lazy way for the developers to really just like make it, you know, just like that, right? But who knows what's going on with that? I mean, none of us know. It's kind of a big question mark. Do you think Stadia will get the Cyberpunk next gen update? Not unless they hire the same porting team who did the original Stadia port. Otherwise, I would not be shocked if you don't see that. DirectX to Vulkan already exist. Yes. Could be implemented this year. Reading a few articles right now. Yep. The soul goes watching up, catching up now. Look forward to hear all the goodies for sure, my man. The tale of two different paths. Microsoft. It is. I haven't read the rest of what you wrote, Rue, but it really is the tale of different paths. Let me keep reading what you wrote. Google is opting to take a different and quiet route. Either way, winners are the consumers. Yes, it is very fascinating on how it's being played out. And I go back to this because Phil Spencer knows that expanding into these, he said it. He literally said it in their own press statement that when they talked about the Activision Blizzard deal, he literally said getting into new emerging markets is a big deal for them. And when I read that, I go, my goodness, what have I been talking about to you guys? And this is just on my own thoughts. I have not been hearing this from anyone else. I don't know if anyone else even talks about it the way I do. Maybe they do. Maybe other creators do. Maybe other people are. But this is just like, and this is my own experience being in like Mexico and knowing the situation in these markets, how big it is. And so it's fascinating that I'm assuming Microsoft is working hard as they can, just like Google and Amazon. Hopefully Amazon is working as hard as they can to go, because right now I don't know what they're doing and they're only in the United States. But getting into these markets and going two different approaches is fascinating to me right now, and how it's going to look, because Microsoft is going to show up to like what? They're going to show up to India. They're going to have all these games and it's going to be whoa. But then what experience are you getting? Right now on my Ethernet with my 1 gig, it's not a great experience. It's like, it's the worst experience. And then going back to the Digital Foundry video, xCloud ran so much worse than GeForce Now and Stadia. It was just disgusting how bad it was running in terms of latency. So, will the consumers in these markets go, Stadia, Amazon works so much better, or will they just go, this is good enough, what's happening on xCloud, and I want the games? And games, I think, are still the most important thing. So they have the games, but will the experience turn them off if it's an awful experience? That is my question. So Rue, absolutely, you nailed it. To me, it's fascinating how this arms race is happening, but it's a slow race. It's like it's a marathon, not a sprint. And right now they're going in a big circle, but in a snail's pace. And they're like, right now Google's going in this direction. You know, they're going in, and Xbox is like, they're trying to take a shortcut this way. And it's so fascinating to me. By massive, I mean they need to make an announcement that they will really turn heads. They need to deliver a list of games coming for the next month. They need to get their logo on games. I mean, if listen, Mike, if Stadia were to make an announcement for all these AAA games coming this year, maybe some of the games that we really want to see, do you think that all of a sudden there's going to be like a bunch of new users? I don't. I think what will happen is a lot of us who use cloud gaming or who are cloud gamers ourselves, that 1% to 2% are going to go, whoa, that's neat. So I'm with you. I think that, and I'm trying to think about this in as much as objectively as I can. If all of a sudden Stadia this year, because they talked about expanding in 2020. If they happen to expand within the next couple, let's say like the Brazil, right? That's the news, right? Brazil might be imminent. If they were to launch in Brazil, again, the 13th largest gaming market, then I'm almost kind of with you. I'd love to see an announcement right there, because now you're in this new market and you want to go, look at all these shiny new games we have here for you to play, you know? So I'm with you. But I think you know, for us Stadia users, if you want to make the argument that an announcement for us, so we know what's like what games, because I'm telling you, it's a mystery what's happening this year. I'm with you on that too. But if you think some massive announcement will shake up the gaming industry by listing the AAA games that are going to come out, I don't think it'll be making much of a difference. It won't even be picked up on the news. Thank you again to Ruben for helping out. Ruben, and hashtag me. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. People ask for upgrades because there's no games on Stadia yet that display its full potential. It's only a matter of time. Yeah, that's right, Dylan. When is GTA gonna release? I'm hoping that the GTA next gen version comes out at some point. I mean, that's my hope and wish. I'm glad to see more games for Google Stadia and Amazon Luna. Stadia will take off when it gets the killer app. Devoice says Direct Touch is great. I've recently played 10 hours of 100 days on my tablet and it's been awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's a great example. I completely forgot about 100 Days Winemaking Simulator. What did they do? It's an indie developer. They probably have a little bit more time on their hands to go ahead and invest in the time to focus on Direct Touch on a game that, if I had to guess, has done really well on Stadia because of Stadia Pro, and they've made some good money. So what are they doing? Again, indie developers don't have the budget that AAA developers do. So they're able to do that. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to tell you guys. Getting into expanding markets, having more users on here will justify the publishers and developers getting their games onto the platform, maybe taking the time to optimize it. It's all this long game, and no one's there right now. Really, Xbox doesn't treat xCloud like it's this main wonderful cloud gaming piece of messiah of gaming. Like they treat it like, use this to demo your games, or use this when you're bored and you're out in the world and you just really want to play something, but don't take this as a serious like replacement to your Xbox. And none of those signals are, and granted they are wanting to sell their consoles, but none of those signals are being sent to anybody, especially when Phil Spencer himself says he uses it to demo. That's the message, that's the narrative that they kind of give out with xCloud. I hate the bi-weekly Stadia updates. Yeah, I think that Stadia should move to more of get the news when you have it instead of bi-weekly. I think that's better, but maybe it's more work for the Stadia team, so I don't know why they do it. Jason goes, is Phil watching your streams? No, Phil's in a bunker somewhere hiding from the rest of the world, hopefully concocting a plan to make cloud gaming itself blow up. Not even Stadia, cloud gaming itself. Sonic's in the Play Store. Stadia just ported over. What Stadia needs is to prove a roadmap. Prove, or what do you mean? Show a roadmap? I think we'd all like to see a roadmap. Michael's, I think it would bring new users if the games were announced. Yeah, same as Cyberpunk did. But it'll bring new users maybe, but it won't bring a substantial amount, because again, it goes back to what I keep saying. Cloud gaming has a perception problem, and so it's just a matter of time right now. So I don't think it's like if Amazon Luna were to announce a bunch of AAA games, you know who more than likely they're converting over? Other cloud gamers who are paying attention to cloud gaming. All of a sudden they'll sign up to Amazon Luna because it's just not there yet. It's just not there to where the cloud gaming services make noise. I think the biggest noise you can make, it goes back to, sadly, it goes back to a cloud only game, and then showcasing what a cloud only game can do that a normal game running on a local hardware can't do. And we are like minimum like 4 to 5 years away from that. And even then, what are we going to see in 4 to 5 years as a cloud only game? Is it going to be as big as we think, or is it still just maybe a little bit above what local hardware can do? There's so many questions I have, guys. I love how you support the Stadia platform so much. Just what, as we Stadia users, need. You provide for us. Thanks for a lot. How can I support you? Dennis, liking my videos and commenting on my videos, even if you comment something silly like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 10th, 20th, commenting on videos and thumbs upping the videos is the biggest support I ever ask of anybody. If you want to go further, I have a Patreon, and you can hit the join button here, or a super chat, or extra ways to go even above and beyond a thumbs up and a comment. But all I ever ask is for thumbs up and comments, because they really help the algorithm. and helping the algorithm push maybe even cloud gaming into people who aren't aware of cloud gaming is also kind of like that small way you can kind of do your part to, you know, me making this channel and showcasing cloud gaming, I hope kind of in a way does that, showcases cloud gaming in itself. So if you want to support, yep, thumbs up and comment. Really, that's the biggest things I ask. I'm tired of waiting on Stadia. I'm back to the Xbox Series console. Nothing wrong with that, Gary. I hear you. I'm with you in the sense of, you know, your frustration of cloud gaming not moving as fast as you want, Stadia not moving as fast as you want. I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear those thoughts. If a game goes on sale on GFN and it don't know it's coming to Stadia, I'll buy it on GFN. There you go, Chris. Perfect. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, man. All right, guys, let's do this giveaway. Thank you to Ruben and Hashtag Media Guy. Thank you guys for helping the mod today. Guys, if you guys don't know the rules, make sure first off, exclamation raffle right now so you can win today's giveaway. It's a Stadia game. You just type in the code and you redeem it at the Stadia store or the Stadia setting. You go to your settings, your Stadia settings, and you'll own this game. I'm giving away, what's the game I'm giving away? It's I'm drawing a blank right now. It's Shantae's Half Genie Hero something. So I'm giving that game away. If you win, make sure you respond in the chat. If you end up the winner, you're gonna join our Discord. By the way, join our Discord. It's awesome. And you're gonna message Granite, one of the Discord mods. He's the one that gives out the keys. So let's get this giveaway going. Let's do it. We have a ton of you guys who have entered. We got 184 tickets, 76 users. I'm gonna give you about 10 more seconds. Exclamation raffle. If you already did it, you don't have to do it again. We have some good giveaways in the coming weeks and months ahead. I still have some big games to give out. We have a charity stream to do here at some point this year. I think I have Madden to give away. I have Rainbow Six Extraction to give away. I have quite a few games to give away to you guys. So definitely stay tuned. Watch these live streams. You never know which game I'm going to give out. I think next week I'm going to give out a really decent game. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's do this. We're going to close these entries. Let's pick our first winner. Keep in mind, message in the chat. Even if you're not usually a chatter, all you have to do is just hit the dot button, hit a number. I just need to know you're alive. All right, I'm going to pick this first and hopefully last winner here on The Price is Sunny. And we have a Wrong Yeezy. Wrong Yeezy, are you in the chat? I'll give you about 30 seconds. If Wrong Yeezy does not respond, we move on to our next person in the chat. If you are the winner, join our you'll have to join our Discord and message Granite. Join our Discord anyways. It's literally one of the most active and biggest cloud gaming discords and period channels in all of Discord. And join anyways, just to be in there, hang out, see the conversations. They're always going off. Wrong Yeezy is not responding, so we might move on here. We'll give him another 10 seconds. In the meantime, let me read some of what you guys are saying. I'm easily wrong, but not on this one. Oh, what are we talking about, Raphael? You're talking about making a big noise? If you want to go on who's right and wrong and debate this really hardcore, I would say you're wrong. I would say you're wrong. Unless I'm missing the context. All right, we're going to go on to our next winner. Winstar715. Winstar715. You know, I have to ask something out of curiosity. I need to ask this question. And I genuinely, I don't mean to ask this question as rude. This isn't to you, Mike. This is a general question. Why does Stadia get the treatment from people that Stadia needs to make a move or it's gonna die, but no one gives the same noise to Luna in that same context? Because I give Luna a lot of flack, and GeForce Now to an extent. I give them a lot of flack because they are in a beta, you know, so I never say anything like, you know, they're not trying to project anything, but Stadia isn't either. Stadia is it's doing its thing, like Luna's doing its thing, like GeForce Now is doing its thing. None of them are realistically trying to compete with PlayStation or Xbox, because how can you compete with those two with the current market of gamers that have access to gaming easily accessible right now? You're not trying to compete with those guys. They have 2 decades. What you're trying to do is go in places where those things don't exist. So I don't understand why the same amount of questioning doesn't happen to the other services in those contexts. It's confusing. Okay, Winstar is here. Congratulations to Winstar. I just had to go on a random question there. Okay, KB says because Stadia promised the world. They did. You are right. But they signaled that they took a step back last year. No company's going to tell you directly that they took a step back, but that's about as direct as it gets. So Stadia told you once they closed SG&E, they said, hey, we're not making our own games anymore. So shouldn't that tell you that why does, like, if people were to tell me Luna, GeForce Now, and Stadia need to buy a studio because they need to compete right at this moment with Xbox and PlayStation, I'd be like, okay. I mean, I would disagree with you, but at least you'd be consistent. Does that make any sense? Like, does that make sense to you? Like, it doesn't. Stadia signaled that they've taken a step back with SG&E closure. They've signaled that they're working on the features and they're just getting more games. The same thing Luna's doing. Luna's getting more features and they're getting more games. GeForce Now is doing what they're doing is improving their hardware because that's the business they're in, is in being the point man from the middle. GeForce Now isn't trying to be a studio acquirer. They're not trying to sell you games or sell you a Netflix. They're trying to sell you can't own GeForce Now. They're trying to sell you what they're in their own lane. Luna's in their own lane with Stadia, essentially. I kind of bunched them up together, even though technically they're not. They have different business models, but it's starting to become similar with Stadia Pro expanding the way they do. I don't understand it. Anyways, guys, I'm supposed to be leaving like I usually do after these streams, but I'm just like, that one to me, I just don't get it. I think it's because Stadia is a Google product, and Google has in the past retired products. Okay. And with that, people are just biased towards Google. Yeah, there's something there. And I admit I'm not a Google guy. So a couple of you guys are saying it's because Google's quit the product. So what you're saying is because Google isn't making this big move right now, it signals that they're quitting. But even though, so I guess the argument would be because Google has announced that they're working on, you know, they come out with new features, and they announced that they're working on better tools for developers and publishers. And I mean, even to a degree, 2 months ago, they said that we're going to see new features next year. We're going to see new games as in this year, 2022. But none of that matters. It's because we don't see a studio acquisition. It means Google's giving up. I'm literally asking for my sanity. Mike goes, I think Luna's even worse position. The frustration, Sonny, is that Stadia has more potential. The reason is all about Stadia. Oh, and I get that frustration, Mike. I totally get that. I'm telling you, I get the frustration that it's, we as gamers, we want to play these high quality AAA games. We want to see them running great, and we want to see them on day one. What I've been trying to tell you is this isn't a singular thing. All the cloud gaming just isn't there yet, because no service is getting all the AAA games day and day consistently. Nobody's doing it. So if someone were to point to me and say, you know, we'll just use xCloud. xCloud is getting every single AAA game, and by far they're the most consistent at this, so credit to them. Getting every single game. They're getting FIFA. They're getting all these titles a day and date, and they have to compete with that, with the day and date. I'd understand it a little bit more, but even xCloud still isn't there themselves. Not every single game is coming to xCloud on Game Pass, right? So when a service actually gets every single AAA game and the other services are falling behind, and we want to start claiming that service sucks, because that's how I compare it in my mind, because it's cloud gaming. You have to put cloud gaming in a cloud gaming bubble, not in a, because it's just not there yet, guys. It's just not there. I wish it was. I'm with you guys. I'm frustrated. I'd love to see these games coming out, but nobody's doing it yet, because It's just not there. It's just not there yet. They have to put the foot in an area in which the major game developers ignored until now, as they could have done for years. Stadia is probably the biggest in this area. To me, they're not quitting. If anything, they're refining their roadmap and support behind Stadia so it can last. That's exactly what Stadia is doing. But that, I guess, gives them the criticism, because when Stadia did announce and it came, they were claiming that they were going to be competing. At least that's the signal they were trying to give everybody, that they were going to compete with Xbox and PlayStation, and it did fall on their face. I'm not denying that. That is 100% what happened. It fell on their face. And so they went, yeah, you know, COVID, chip shortages, games aren't being developed as quick, and so we're not going to have as many games as quickly because everything got delayed. They took a step back and they said, we're taking a step back now. So for me, I think once that happened, it signaled, okay, this whole thing needs to take a step back, because they were the only ones pretending to try and push forward and compete on that level, but they gave that signal. So I get it from that point of view. But I think where people maybe get hung up on is that they think Stadia is still in that, where they're trying to compete day and date with Xbox and PlayStation. No, and they've said it as much themselves, in my opinion. So anyways, Nick goes, Stadia doesn't need a big studio, but MS has bought the studios. I wanted to see on Stadia. I agree with you on that, actually, Nick. There's some definitely quite a few games, especially Diablo. I shed a tear for that. Maybe by some miracle, some deals were already in place. Miracle. I wanted to see Stadia, COD, Halo. Yeah. I like Stadia, but I don't like the games offered. I hear you. And I think that's where I tell everybody, I'm going to tell all you guys here on a weekly basis as I do these streams, vote with your wallet. If you're not happy with what Stadia is doing with GeForce Now, Luna, all these services, if you're using Boosteroid, whatever you're using, if you're using Shadow, I mean, and you're not happy with something, definitely vote with your wallet. When you guys are telling me that you moved on to an Xbox Series X or PlayStation, I don't blame you. Because cloud gaming is just not there yet. And if service A has the games you want and service B doesn't, vote with your wallet and move to service A. All I can sit here and tell you, when people ask me or tell me Stadia or Luna or somebody, most specifically Stadia, needs to do something, all I can tell you is what's happening, why it's happening, and where the roadmap from what I'm seeing looks like. You can take what I say with a grain of salt or not, and I'll just leave it right there. This has been a fun chat. These chats the last couple weeks have been so insane with you guys. I am losing complete and utter track of time. I always have like a set amount of time when I'm gonna leave and when I'm gonna, you know, and you guys have just been killing it. I have just been so you guys I feel so blessed, guys, to chat with you and talk. You guys are just can we agree on this? Can we all agree on this before I start this off? Can we all agree that this is the smartest gaming community? Even if we disagree, if you guys disagree with me and you think, you know, whatever, can we all agree on that we are we're the smartest, and we're also the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Supportive and of each other. And I am so blessed to be a part of this community, hanging out with you guys. You guys are insane. So really, thank you. Thank you again for the 5 from my man Nick, and thank you for all the donations, and thank you to Randy becoming a member on the channel. Thank you so much, guys. I see all the stuff you guys are saying. Let's continue this conversation next week. I think we'll have a good one next week. I will see you guys next week for sure. I'm Sunny, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds. What's that music, baby? Let's go. Have a good one, everybody. Go, 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 go. We got to end it with this song like always. Go! Go! That drop, baby. Let's go, Sunny Cloud Gaming. Let's go. Have a good one, guys. Have a good Sunday. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one, everybody. Take care. And be safe out there. I'll see you in the clouds.